Okay, so what is your role at Algo, Amy?
Yeah, so thank you. I am an account executive. So my career has been in supply chain and data for a very long time with organizations like Dun& and Bradstreet and Gartner. And so when I had the opportunity to join Algo, I jumped at the chance. And so I'm relatively new, but I just every day I am really, really excited about the momentum and the opportunity, and just the product and the problems that we're solving for our customers.
You said you jumped at the chance to work with Algo. Why?
Mhm.
What was it about them?
Yeah, so obviously there's been many accolades, right? So fastest growing private companies and Gartner, cool vendor. But it's really what I see going on in the marketplace. So I have been in supply chain for better part of 15 years in different functions. And particularly over the past 18 months or so, with everything going on with COVID and the disruptions and shortages and all of these things, I really see where Algo and our technology can make a big impact here for our customers. And so when I started talking to Amjad and the team, some of the things that they shared with me were just incredibly fascinating and exciting. And I just thought, I want to be part of that. Like I want to be part of this team and part of solving these problems for our customers.
Okay, you mentioned COVID. So obviously the world has changed since COVID. So how in particular with regard to supply chains has it changed?
Oh boy. Um, so I think from a supply chain perspective, COVID really highlighted supply chains, right? So prior to COVID and all of the shortages and disruption we had, everyone could click a button on Amazon and they could get their toilet paper and they could get everything that they needed at their doorstep within a day or even same day in some cases. And when different parts of the world began shutting down, um, we learned very quickly how critical so the supply chains are to our everyday lives. And I think this is the first time not only do everyday consumers understand the importance of supply chain and all of the different pieces that are working together, but I've seen over the last 12, 18 months, even slightly longer, now supply chain has a seat at the table with the CEO. And this is no longer just kind of an extra function. It is top of mind in the entire organization. Not only the demand and the logistics and the planning and all those things, but the supplier itself. Are they at risk? Where their factories located? Is this an area where there's a hot spot of COVID, and do we need to worry about that? And now there's the cybersecurity and sustainability initiatives across the board. So I really think since COVID really kind of put a spotlight on supply chain, it's now everyone understands the criticality of it, and it's top of mind.
What do you mean when you say cybersecurity? Like how is that playing into supply chains?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting. So I believe in the first quarter of this year, supply chains were targeted at a 4x rate of other organizations because of the criticality of it. So if you think about, for instance, like the Colonial Pipeline cyber breach, right? So that was a cyber attack that happened there. It shut down the better part of the eastern seaboard in the United States for about a week until they could get that back online. And so cyber criminals are recognizing that these organizations that play a critical piece and part of the supply chain, they're going to be it's going to be the most disruptive, and they're going to get their ransoms because it's a critical component of the infrastructure. And so from a supplier perspective, right, not just the total supply chain, but there are organizations that are starting to focus on cybersecurity vulnerabilities and risk scores and things of that nature to be able to understand, hey, this is one of my key suppliers and they have a potential weakness. We need to be aware of that and have a contingency plan in place if there is to be some kind of a cyber breach and some kind of a problem there.
So Algo puts an emphasis on preventing cyber attacks or places an emphasis on their security or what?
No. So Algo doesn't focus on the cyber piece. So that is just more to answer your question around the total supply chain impact of COVID and what, the broader general marketplace. Algo is a supply chain intelligence solution. And so what we're doing at Algo is we are using our operational expertise. So the majority of our team is former operators within the supply chain space. We're using our advanced technology that's backed by AI and and ML algorithms, and we're combining that in a really easy to use, seamless interface that kind of removes the data silos and the platform silos that have traditionally plagued organizations and trying to wrap their hands around millions of different data points. And so at Algo, where we're really focusing is the downstream supply chain. So once the goods are manufactured, from demand planning to inventory, replenishment, merchandising, and then at the foundation of that is managing your data and analyze your data, and understanding anomalies and running simulations and understanding how the decisions you're making are going to impact your business so that you can make better decisions. And that's really the value of AI, is in the decisioning and the what's the right word, the speed of which decisions can be made and actions can be prescribed. And so gone are the days of just analytics. We want to take those analytics and then create a prescription of what we need to do in the future to be more effective and to meet our goals. And so that's really what Algo is doing, is leveraging our expertise and our superior technology to really help our customers understand all of their data, and make better decisions, make more strategic, more accurate, more impactful decisions for their business.
Mm-hmm. When I was running a film company, we had a website and I would look at Google Analytics. And so when you say gone are the days just analytics, I imagine what you mean is when I would look at it, I would see the past performance and perhaps even current real-time performance. And then I would have to make some choices. What do we do? Where do we invest? What websites are underperforming and so on? Now, are you suggesting that Algo looks at the analytics? It also gives you the ability to look at your own analytics, like why wouldn't it?
Right.
But it also gives suggestions for what should be done?
Absolutely. So it helps you detect anomalies. It helps you run simulations. So if I do this, what is the downstream effect on my business and these decisions? It helps you, as simple as using our natural language processing to say, what is my inventory at store 864 via your Teams? And it will pull up the report in that amount. And so it's leveraging your analytics, but in a better way, right? And so it's helping you understand those things, but then what should I be doing next and why? And how does that decision or those series of decisions, how do those impact my business? And so, it was a perfect example. We were working with a large office supply company overseas in Asia Pacific, and we took in their data. This is part of one of the pilots that we did. We took in the data and we ran just some basic analytics, and we identified that if they just reduced their weeks of supply by 6 weeks from 14 down to 8, that's going to free up 60 million in working capital for them. So we're able to generate very quick, measurable impacts for our customers. And that's just one tiny example of one small piece of a pilot, right? So we have many, many stories like that across our customers: Facebook, Meta, Microsoft, the movie studios. In our 12 years, we've never lost a customer.
Wow.
And that speaks to the value of Algo and how closely we work. So I think one of the big differentiators that I've seen is how closely we remain incredibly close to our customers during implementation, but then even after the initial implementation, we really become kind of extension of their team. And so as their business changes, as market conditions change, as our technology changes, we're continually evolving and massaging the relationship. And so we continue to drive value and drive impactful results. And so, we're not losing customers because we're working so closely with those, and we're owning the business outcomes, right? So that's kind of part of our process is to measure KPIs where we started, put together some goals of where we want to get to, and then Algo really owns that development, right?
For me, when I download programs like, let's say, Mathematica or Adobe Premiere, I download it from some company. I pay them first, and then it's essentially hands off. I look up tutorials and so on online, and I use it. Now, it sounds like for Algo, it's more hands-on on your part. Can you give me an example of what someone who is watching, let's imagine they're a prospective customer, they have supply chain issues, or they believe that there's money to be saved and or money to be made via optimizing some supply chain. So they contact you. Okay, what are the next steps? How does it integrate? What do you mean when you say you take in the data and then you manipulate it in some way and find these problems and solutions?
Yeah, that's a great question, Curt. So with Algo, we generally start with just a simple business discussion, right? So what problems are you having? What is that impact on your business? What have you evaluated as a way to try and alleviate that? And then we bring in our team of data scientists and really operational experts, and we continue that conversation, and we dig deeper and we dig deeper to identify kind of the root of the problem rather than just throwing software at it, right? So we really take the time to understand their business and what's going on. Generally, we start with a pilot program. So we find one or two KPIs that they're really focused on solving for, and we get the team going. And usually within 8 to 12 weeks, we've got tangible results from that pilot program. And then we can continue to expand it. I think one of the things I said earlier was, my background has been in data, and in the many organizations across many customers that I've supported over the years, they buy a new software, but their data's a mess. And so when they go to input that data into the software can be the best in the world, but if the data foundation isn't there, the results aren't going to be accurate, right? Because you're basing them off of poor data. And so what Algo is unique in what we're able to do with that data foundation is we've pre-built over 90 integrations into existing systems. So the SAPs, the Oracles of the world, it's very difficult to pull that data out. So what Algo does is we're able to put our data foundation technology just and sit on top of your existing ecosystem. So we're not going to ask you to tear anything out. We're not going to ask you to, rip and replace, as you will. Let us just sit on top of it and let our data team and our integrations work, consolidate that data, pull it into, the Algo platform, and then from there we're able to run a series of analytics and simulations and things based on your particular needs to give you some answers. So an example would be a consultant that we work with, that we support, was looking to help. I have to think through the NDA. So a large global beverage company, if you will, without naming them. They had planned a $1 billion systems, $1 billion distribution and warehouse overhaul across a region of the United States. And we came in and we said, well, yeah, you can do that and spend $1 billion in real estate and in new warehouses and new distribution centers and all that. But why don't we tackle the forecast first? because if you have the right product at the right place at the right time and you eliminate the waste, then you can save a lot of money without having to completely redo all of this huge infrastructure. So we really take the approach of kind of becoming a trusted advisor to our customers and making sure that that we are an extension of their business. And so we start small with solving a few problems for them. And then depending on what that highlights and what the data highlights, then we can move into some of the different pieces and modules of our platform that are able to help and support in additional ways.
Amy, thank you so much. I appreciate all your
Happy
wonderfully worded answers to my
to.
somewhat foolish questions.
No, it was wonderful. It was lovely to speak with you, Curt. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.